legacy. Wednesday night tuned in to this legacy. Mark and Will locked in on this legacy. Mel and PIP's in on this legacy. Let's go. What you know about this legacy? Wednesday night tuned in to this legacy. Mark and Will locked in on this legacy. Get your popcorn, I know you need this medicine. Let's go.
What's going on, people? Welcome back to another great episode of the Mark and Will Show. Of course, you got your favorite two hosts of the most, Mark and Will. What's up, my brother?
What is going on in the building, baby?
We have a special guest in the building, brother.
I'm going to tell you what. You know what? People always say that Mark and Will can't do this type of stuff.
They say we cannot.
I don't think too many people in the 502 got the Olympian
Ronnie
Baker on this. I mean,
No.
Ronnie
Baker? I don't think they can do that.
No, I don't think they can. And hold
We're
on.
blessed.
Let me go and say, besides Olympian,
Yes.
Ballard Bruin.
Ooh.
We got another Ballard Bruin on
502.
502 and TCU.
Ooh.
TCU NCAA record breaker type. Man, he's a champion.
We got it.
He's a champion,
He's
man.
a champion.
Thank you, Ronnie, for
Thank
coming on the
you.
show. How you doing, Ronnie?
No problem, man. It's a pleasure. I'm doing good. It's always good to get back, especially talking to people from Louisville, Kentucky, man. So
Yes,
where
sir.
I was raised, and so where I'm from. You know, I saw a lot of people. I saw you guys had a lot of guests from Mel High School. So, you know, first of all, we got to switch it up a little bit.
Hey! I love it. Bring your energy. But hold on, Ronnie. You know I got to cut you off because that's my school. And, the funny thing is this. The funny thing is this. Shout out to Mark Miller,
Yes.
male legend,
Yeah.
who introduced us. So I like that shot, though. Ronnie, keep that same energy, baby.
Yeah. I mean, that's you start there. You got to keep it there. You know?
I love it, man. I love that. Hey, first of all, man, thank you for representing the United States
Yes.
of Tokyo, man. That right there, I mean, not too many. And I know we was laughing and everything at the beginning, like on the show, but man, hey, dude, you're a legend, man. A ballad, you know what I'm saying? TCU, like I said, I looked up the stuff, like the stats and everything, the records and stuff. You are that guy, man. How's it feel to be that guy?
It feels good, man. It's good. I feel like, you know, I think for me, the biggest thing is I'm so competitive, and I've always had that competitive nature. But, you know, even with all the stuff that I've done, you know, that competitive person in me is like, there's more. You know, I feel like you always, if you're striving to be better, you always feel like, man, I haven't really done anything yet. And so, you know, when you can see your potential and your vision for what you know you can do, like when you're accomplishing stuff like this, you're like, dang, but I feel like I haven't done anything yet because I know what I can achieve. So I feel like even now I feel like that sometimes. I'm like, dang, like I know I've accomplished a lot, but I know there's more. So
Hey, right there, man. Hey, right.
Dog,
Bro, you're supposed to wait to the end of the interview to get that nugget. You can't be doing that right now. No, look.
Well, we got to keep the people interested, you know.
Hey!
We got to feed them a little bit, keep them on the podcast.
We got a professional on her. I love that. Check this out, though. Let everybody know, man, like, growing up, what age were you when you started playing sports, what sports you did, and all this kind of stuff, man?
Yeah, so I was born, first of all, I was born in Louisville, you know, Jewish hospital, baby. So was born there. My family actually moved to Anchorage, Alaska for a while because my aunt was living there for a while. My mom had grown up in Alaska for a couple of years. So we had moved to Anchorage, Alaska for about 7 years and came back to Louisville. I was actually doing sports while I was in Anchorage. So I was playing basketball. I ran cross country. And so, yeah, and the thing is, we didn't even have a basketball team at my elementary school until like I was in 5th grade when I was in Alaska. So like we were playing sports. The crazy thing is that my teacher, like, we would go to gym, and usually it's like a 30-minute block in elementary school. You like go to gym, and you got math, and you got whatever. And so our class would be in the gym for like 4 hours. Like we'd be in there for 2.5 hours. We'd be in the next gym session. We'd just be hooping, doing whatever. Like it was fun. But I started playing a lot of sports and getting into that. But really, when I was in 3rd grade, I don't even know what age that is. But I was young. I wasn't running track until 6th grade, but I was playing ball and had hoop dreams and stuff. Like I feel like everybody from Louisville.
Right. That's a must.
Yeah.
So that's like you have to do that. Like you don't play.
Out of what? Yeah.
Take this basketball.
Ronnie, let me ask you real quick, Ronnie. So, like you said, basketball, different things like that. So, what led you to track at early? Because you said what 6? How old was you when? What grade were you in when you did track?
Man, I started track in 6th grade. So what led me to that was honestly we were just out in. I went to Highland Middle School.
Shout out to Highland.
Shout out to Highland. We were at like a field day, and somebody saw me run, and they were like, "Hey, you should come out for the track team." And that was it. Like I was at the next practice. So that's really how it went though. Like a lot of the times people would just see me run and just different, like just doing different stuff, like playing tag or just anything, right? And they were like, "Man, you're pretty talented. Why don't you come out for the track team or come out for cross country?" So that's when I started, and really it was just a suggestion by somebody that saw me run. They're like, "Hey, you should come out."
Wow. So middle school, you're doing this. So now 9th grade, right? You decided to go to the Ballard Brewing, So
Yep.
Besides track, did you do any other sports besides track at Ballard?
Yeah, so I played basketball. I played all 4 years. I really wanted to be a hooper. That was my dream. For real. Like, and I got to Ballard, coming in, we had just kind of like, first of all, I was going to high school, but my mom went to Ballard, my dad went to Ballard. Like, there's a little hallway in Ballard with like all the pictures, like the class pictures, and my parents are in they're in those pictures, which is crazy.
Hey, shout out their names, man. We need to know all that, Ronnie. Come on, man.
Michelle Baker and Ronald Baker. My dad's a senior, so I'm a junior. Okay. Yeah, so they were in those pictures, but just a lot of history. So even with that, like when I got there, I was playing basketball. The crazy thing is that summer I went to like the summer camp, and they were like, "Man, this kid is fast." So they actually had the track the coach Renner, who was a basketball coach. I think he's still a basketball coach there. He called the track coach and had him come to Ballard during the summer, and he had me run like a full sprint down the court and back, and he timed it. And he's like, "This kid needs to run track." He's like, "He can play basketball for me, but he needs to be out. He needs to be out there with you too." So that was kind of the introduction to like me getting on the track team and figuring that out. But I played basketball my whole 4 years at Ballard as well.
I was wondering because I saw what Coach Renner retweeted. I was like, "Ain't that the best?" I said, "Okay," But you know what? Being an athlete that you are, not shocking because I was thinking that basketball, football, something else besides track. But a lot of people do that. So okay, basketball 4 years. So track. Give us some. Okay, your freshman year. Like, what did you run for the track team? Like, what
Freshman year of high school?
Yes.
Yeah. Dang. Freshman year of high school, in comparison to like what good high school times are, I was slow. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. I was not fast. I ran I think my freshman year I had to run like 11.9, 11.8, like, and that's not fast. That's not fast. So I was running that in the 100. I was running like,
Ronnie,
what was that?
Ronnie, you just crapped out a lot of those track people out playing. Hey, look, no, I'm joking with you because them 10th graders, 11th graders that went 11, I think it was fast. Go ahead, I'm playing with you. Go ahead.
In high school, though, I didn't even know enough about track to know that was slow. Like I I thought I was fast. You know what I'm saying? Like I had no clue. And so I was running like probably 11.8s in 100. 400 was my main event in high school though anyway.
Okay.
So I probably was running, I don't even know, probably like 52, 53. Nothing crazy. So yeah, that was kind of what I was doing. And the 200, I didn't run a whole lot of 200s, but that was my freshman year. And that's where most kids are, especially like in Louisville, Kentucky. The track is not super prominent. That's
Right.
average. That's normal. But I didn't really know how fast high school kids were running for real until like my junior year, when I went to New Balance, the New Balance national meet, and I got to it's crazy, man. It's a crazy story. We went with like 4 or 5 dudes. Coach Goodwin, who was a track coach at the time, he drove us. We drove to, I believe it was at North Carolina A&T.
Okay.
So we drove up there for the meet. It was our first big meet. We did a relay, and I ran the 400. So I ran the 400. I got 5th place, which is really good for me. I had a personal best. I ran 47 something, which was like the top 25 or top 50 times in the country.
Wow.
I didn't even know what I was doing at that time. So, and I remember we were all sitting in the stands, and we were watching the 100-meter dash. And so they finished 100, and the time pops up, and it's like 10:2, and I'm like, what? I was like, high school kids are running. Like, what are we doing? Because and these were like, the Florida kids, the Texas kids.
Right.
And we were like, I remember watching that race. I remember looking at my friends, and I literally, this is my face. I was just like, what? So I had no idea what really fast was until I went to that track meet, and I was like, okay, we're not running that fast.
So did you when you was at Ballard and everything? Because I hate to say it, Kentucky sometimes is a little state of Kentucky is stuck behind on certain things.
Yeah.
So did you run like AAU after track season with Ballard, or did you?
Yeah, so my junior year is kind of when I kind of had my breakout year. It was funny because that year was actually at that Male, that meet where I actually had that breakthrough was at Male, and honestly, it was because the Male track team was talking a lot of trash.
Woo.
Real talk.
Who was some of them cats? Who was some of them cats?
A lot of trash, and so we were racing in the 4x1, and our guy, he I don't know what happened, but he never started the race, so we didn't even get to race him. So I was pretty upset about that. Then I went on to win both the 400 and 100 that day. That was the first time I actually broke. I ran under 11 seconds and won the 10s, and we were going crazy because I was like, nobody's doing that. Like nobody's running 10. And again, that's when I got woken up, that year when we went and saw those dudes run 10 too. But yeah, so those are just some of the moments and stuff. But that's when I knew, like, my junior year was like, hey, I'm gonna be a track and field athlete. That was kind of my path.
Wow. And so, as you junior, you knew. So you still played senior ball basketball, but in the back of your mind, you knew that basically track was your calling.
Yeah.
Or was you still trying to live at a hoops dream?
Man, I think I was trying to live the hoop dream all the way up until I couldn't live it anymore. Real talk. So and that was the year that we were actually really good that year. It was the year that my senior year, I was starting that year. I was a senior, playing on the varsity team. I didn't have to play a whole lot of varsity, dude. When you got guys like Keelan Martin, Quinn Snyder, Monte Parker, come on, you got
loaded,
right? So, that was my junior year, but my senior year we had Levon Holland, we had Keelan Martin was there, Quentin Snyder was there. Man, we had a good looking squad.
What was you guard, point guard, shooting guard? What was you, man?
I was playing shooting guard because Quentin, he was running point. So, yeah, I let him have that. He knows what he's doing. So, yeah, man, that was a year I really enjoyed basketball because basketball was it's at the high school level when you can get into like a Bellarmine, and you have like there's people in there waiting, and there's like people that can't find seats. Like that atmosphere that's crazy. Like it really is. Like that's better atmosphere than some professional basketball games that you can get
Right.
to. Like real talk. Like,
Right.
because the whole city is just like watching, and they're there and they want to be there, and like people are standing outside because they can't get in, and like, man, I remember those moments. Those were crazy moments. Just like the lights, the everybody cheering, man. It was awesome. So that year, I was like, man, I'll be a basketball player. But after we played Trinity in the I guess the regional final, that's one that determines who goes to state.
Right.
And we ended up losing that year. They actually ended up winning. That was
Hey,
the
Quick?
out there.
Was Quick out there? Who was out there?
Yeah, Quick was out there. The kid that went to Kentucky, what's his name? Tall. I think it was Willis or Ellis or something. His last name, I can't remember his name.
Okay.
He was on the team. But yeah, they end up basically whoever was going to win that game was going to win state.
Right. Right.
It's how it is usually. But yeah, they end up winning that year. And after that, I was like, I need to focus on track and field because at the end of the day, I know that's where my bread and butter is. And so after that loss, I was really beat up about it. But I was like, okay, I got to focus in on maximizing this track season.
So tell us about your senior season as far as track. Like what events did you do, and because I know you had to smash some records because you went to a pretty good team, college.
Yeah.
Tell us about.
Yeah. What's crazy is that that year I was running the 400. The 400 was my main event. I was running the 400, I was running the 100, the 200, and the 4x4. So I was running 4 events pretty much almost every meet.
Okay.
My best one was a 4. Probably the next best was the 100, then the 200. So that year, my senior year, I won the 400, I won the 100. I think I run like 10-7 in the 100, and I ran like 47-1 in the 400. And the 400 was kind of a lock. James Quick ran the 100. It was a little bit of a battle out for the win in that, but I got both of those, and then Quick won the 200 that year. He won it for like 4 years in a row. Actually, he's really good in that event. But yeah, that was my senior year, and then I got recruited by TCU because.
Hold on, Ronnie.
Yeah.
What other schools besides TCU you was looking at?
So I had offers from Arizona State, UCLA, Ohio State. That was like the main. Those were the main ones.
Did you take visits to these schools?
So I took visits to. I went to TCU first, and that was because it was funny. My mom said, "Hey, the school TCU, they want you to come on a visit." I'm like, TCU? What's that? What's that? Because as a basketball player, when you watch basketball, you see the Dukes and the North Carolinas, those are where you want to go. Even if you don't know nothing about track, right? Those schools are not the greatest places to go for track and field. Great for basketball, but
right.
That's where I'm like, TCU is not even on my mind. But TCU was the only school out of those schools that actually offered me a full ride scholarship.
Ooh.
Oh wow!
So I think that God knew where He wanted me to be for sure. Like He made it easy.
Right.
Yep.
He's like, these schools.
I was trying to see if you went out to the California, baby boy. I thought UCLA.
I did. I've got pictures on my Facebook of me out in California and got to go on the field at UCLA. Yeah, it was a fun trip. And really, you know what? To be honest with you, I knew I wasn't going to UCLA, but I was like, free trip. I'm gonna take it.
Yeah,
right.
That's the whole
thing.
Right. Because when you said, and so for all the athletes out there, you need to make sure you understand what that scholarship offers.
Yep.
Full ride, partial ride, whatever. And so that's why I was asking that, because once you said it, then I understood that that's where you was going.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad though. Also, if they're gonna pay for a visit for you to go to these places, take it.
I've never been to California before.
Yeah, that's love. Right. So TCU. You down there and you rocking and rolling. Whatever. Explain to everybody, okay, what was the big difference for you as far as Ballard senior to your freshman year at TCU?
Whew. Man, the biggest difference is one, just being on your own. Um, like low key, the first 2 weeks, I was miserable. I was like, man, like I was excited to get away from home and like be at school. And then those first 2 weeks kind of hit me hard. Like, dang, my family's far and like I don't know anybody. Like I
Right.
don't know no. And so I felt a little lonely, honestly, in those 2 weeks. So it was a little bit of an adjustment. But for anybody that is moving like far away, like don't get discouraged because, like I always tell people, if you want to stay in the States, absolutely, that's fine. Go ahead, do it. Like rep your city, put on for them, and give back to them. It's a big deal for people to stay in. I knew that I not necessarily that I didn't like Louisville, but I didn't want to be in the city because I felt like for me there was just I wanted to go see. I just wanted to go see the world a little
Right.
bit. I wanted to be out there, and I had an opportunity to do that. Because not that I would have got super sidetracked at home, but like my family would have been there. It would have been easy to just be comfortable.
Right.
I wouldn't have. There's certain areas in my life where I definitely wouldn't have grown if I had been at home, right? And that's not saying it's a bad thing, but I just decided that I was going to go away. And the biggest difference was just adjusting to that emotionally, like trying to meet new people and establish yourself. But the training was just hard. Like
Right.
it was rough. Like I remember going to practice and being excited about it, but those first couple of weeks in the fall training and all that, like it was a different level. I was like, hold on, like can I really do this? So yeah, it challenged me in those areas. I mean, those are really the biggest differences. Just being on your own, trying to manage your calendar, establishing yourself and figuring out, who your friends are going to be,
Right.
and also just the training and like what we were actually doing was very different from what I was doing in high school. So it's an adjustment period for sure.
So, what as a freshman, what events would you run? Were you still running the 400 or 100 stuff like that? What events would you running there at TCU as a freshman?
So as a freshman, I was running the 400 mainly. I ran the 100 and the 200 as well, and then I ran the 4x1 sometimes, and then sometimes the 4x4, depending on what I was running. So I was running those events, mainly the 400 though, because that's what I got recruited to do. Honestly, I didn't make the national championship my freshman year. I actually got put out in the regional final or like the regional semifinal. One, I was nervous as all get out. So I didn't really know how to like deal with those nerves, and I think that was huge. But yeah, I didn't make it that year. And then the next year, I was doing the same thing, but I qualified in the regionals for the 400, the 100, and the 200. So my coach, he looked at me and said, "Hey, do you want to run the 400 or do you want to run the 1 and the 200?" And if you know anything about track, the 400 is is not fun. So
It's a man's man run.
So I was like, I'm gonna do the 100, 200. I want to do the short stuff.
Right.
So after that, I never went back to running open fours. I ran 4x4s, but never 400 opens.
So let me ask you this, Ron. So let's go from freshman TCU to sophomore TCU. Like, give us some time. You know how we are. Like, America wants to see some time. Like, what was the difference as far as your running, your time from freshman and sophomore, so we can see the growth?
Yeah, so I'll give you some times from even high school to freshman year and then freshman year because a lot of kids ask me like, "What were you running when you were 18?" Right?
Okay.
So when I was 18, coming out of high school, I was running 47.1. That was my PR. I had run 10.8, 10.9 consistently, which is like for most kids that age, that's not very fast. People are like, "Oh, I'm doing that." Or like they're juniors and they're doing that. So just like to put it in perspective, like you're not far away from achieving your goal as you think you are. Because I never thought I'd be running what I'm running now. So I was running about 10.9, 10.8, 47.1, and 21.6 on a consistent basis. So then when I got to TCU my freshman year, I improved drastically. I dropped a whole second off my 400 time. I was running 46.1. I split 44 seconds my freshman year in the 4x4 relay. So that was a massive improvement. I ran 10.3. So I went from like running 10.9 to consistently 10.3. I ran 21 something, but it wasn't crazy fast. I think it was probably like 21 flat or something like that, 2090. So then that was freshman year. Then my sophomore year, I didn't run a whole lot of 400s. So my time really stayed the same. I was like around 46.1. I still split 44 every time I took the baton on a 4x4 carry. And then my 100 time dropped to 10:18. And my 200 time was like probably like 2070. So yeah, that's kind of the progression from that. I mean, junior year that's when the real drops.
Well, let's get to the junior year.
Yeah.
Get to the junior.
Gotcha. So my junior year, I actually ended up running 995 that year. I ran 995. So I went from 10:18 to 995 the next year.
Ronnie, stop, man, stop. We gotta take 10 minutes. Hold on. Let me get my breath.
Oh my goodness!
Don't get you little drink.
I mean,
because we went from 11 something.
Yes.
Was it 11 something?
Yep.
The high school or something like that. So now you're talking about 9 something. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just had to take a breather.
Yeah, it takes time, and people don't realize that success doesn't happen overnight. And you have to understand that this is a progression of, if you really want to talk about times in high school to when I was a junior in college, that's a total of 7 years.
Right.
And people are like, man, why am I not hitting it after the first year or 2 years? And I think, this is crazy. What I'm realizing is that people do not, they think the level of work that they're putting in is supposed to get them a certain level of results, when in reality they haven't put in enough work. Like if you really want to grow, it faster, you have to put in way more work than you think. Like if you're trying to really get big results really fast, you have to put in way more work than you think is even necessary. Like beyond what you can even imagine type work. Now, if you want to grow and progress over a certain amount of time, it's kind of like that compound effect where you do a little here, you do here, you do a little here, do a little here, and over time it becomes big, it becomes massive. Right. It's just like with working out. You don't go in and kill yourself the first day and then you like take 2 weeks off. It's a slow, gradual progression. If you really want to see like big results in anything in your life, whether that's business, work, you got to put in way more work than you like right now. The work that you think you're putting in and you think you're tired, it's not even close.
Right. Let me ask you this, Ronnie, real quick. So let's peel back the onion on this, okay? So, and you setting it up. You set it up real quick. You put it on the tee. So, explain to people. Let's go from college. We'll go sophomore, junior, whatever. Sophomore, junior. Like, what does a workout look like for a Ronnie Baker, sophomore / junior, going into that? Like, let's dive into that, man. What that look like?
Yeah, it's a lot of programming with the coach, but a typical work week, like I'll give you a work week for like the fall training, which is usually the longer, harder, lactic acid, all that stuff. Like you're gonna be laid out kind of workout. So the first, like you come in on a Monday, you're doing something long. It's gonna be hard. It's like 300s, which you're running those. When you first start out, you got an honorable pace. You're probably in like the 48s, running 300s. And you get 3 minutes rest, you run another one. You get 3 minutes rest, you run another one. If you think that workout's easy, try me. Go try it. It's not easy.
All right, bro. All right. Ain't nobody on this set doing that. Go ahead.
No. People are like, that's it? That's all you do? Okay, yeah. Go run it and then let me know how it feels.
Right.
three 300s. The next day probably going to be something easier. So like either some like 10 100s, which is kind of a like recovery day because you just destroyed yourself.
Did you
The
say?
next day you're doing
Wait a minute, Ron. Did you say 10 100s?
10 times 100. Yeah, it's like one of the easiest workouts I have.
Oh Lord, I'm
Then
done.
he said it's easy.
I quit.
But
I'm done. I quit.
that's an easy one. So you got that. Then you're doing the next on Wednesday. You're coming in. You're doing probably 8 200s with a 2-minute rest. Thursday, you're gonna probably be doing some sled work, sled pulls, hill runs, something like that. And then the last day, you'll do a 500, 300, 200, 100. Yeah. So and those are all timed. You're probably getting 3 minutes rest in between those. So that's like a typical work. That's a typical work week. And that fluctuation changes, but that's like the normal. That's something normal.
You got it.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, that's why you right there. We're right here. But okay, so check this out. So junior, a lot of things changed.
Yeah.
So did you have any like what accolades did you get your junior year at TCU?
So my junior year was the kind of breakout year in college. I won my first national title in the 60 and 652. So I won that. That was huge. That was the biggest accolade. And pretty much I broke the school record then. I ran the school record, TCU school record. So yeah, I think really as far as those things, those are only things as far as like accolades. I ran 9 seconds that year, so I broke the 10-second barrier, which I think there's only like 150 men to ever do that. So that's an accomplishment. But yeah, that was my junior year. And then
let's talk about senior then.
Senior year was better. I mean, I won another national title, but I ran 6:47, which actually I ran the collegiate record that year. So I broke the collegiate record. I had the fastest time in the world at that point. I ended up running. What did I run? That was 2016. Yeah, so we got a silver medal in the 4x1 at the national championships outdoors. So yeah, those were like the top things. Obviously, broke the school record again. Actually, was all time in the 60 at that time was within the top 15. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, those were some of the accolades for that year.
Ronnie,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
when did you know that? And this is, I mean, we basically wanted to cover the college, the collegiate. When did you know that the Olympics and all the other world track meet stuff is like professional stuff that you wanted to do? Like, I can do this and I can rock and roll. Like, when was that like a goal to you? Like, I can do this.
I think that started to be a reality for me in my junior year. I started to really believe that I could run at that level. My junior year of college, because I started to win. Like I started to actually perform well and win stuff, and then that really became a reality for me my senior year. I had been in conversation with a lot of different companies as far as like what I was going to be able to do that following year, and I actually ended up winning the national championships for like the USA in the 60 that year. So that was when junior year I knew I could do it. Senior year it was already like in my head it was going to happen. So yeah, I think that's when it kind of made that switch was my junior year of college, and I was like, okay, I think I can run at the pros for sure. Run in the pros for sure.
So let's dive into this real quick. Let's dive into the Olympics. So tell us like the whole process, like because people don't have Olympians on their show all the time. That's 502. So as you go into that and being a professional and all this kind of stuff, like what is that process like? I mean, like do the Olympic team? I mean, I know you got trials and things like that. That whole, if you can, let's explain to everybody that whole process leading to you making the Olympic team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so people don't really understand how that works, but there's a window of time, and I think it starts in like August, and it goes until like June or early July when you can actually run a time to qualify for the Olympic trials, right? So you don't ever qualify for the Olympics or any world team until you are at the trials and you make the team there. So like people ask me like 3 years out, have you qualified? Well, no, not yet. You know, it's the same year of the same year the Olympics is, the same year the World Championship is, the same year you're gonna have the trials.
Okay.
But you can qualify for a time to get into the trials. You have to run a time to get in to even be in the meet. So once you get in the meet, basically there's 3 rounds of every event, 3 rounds of every event, and they do a heats, they do a prelims, they do a finals. And that selection process is based on who's the best on that finals day, like who can get to the finals and who can perform the best. So if you break the world record 2 weeks before that and you don't show up on that day, you're not going to the Olympics.
Wow.
Right? So
you
got
Ronnie, can you say that again? Because I got a nephew that he needs to hear this. Go ahead. Say that again.
If you break the world record 2 weeks before the trials and you don't get to the trials and perform, then you're not running. You're not going to be on the Olympic team. You got to show up on that day. So that's why it's called the trials, because everybody has to run for that spot. And if you're top 3, that's when you get to go to represent Team USA. If you're not top 3, sorry, you're probably going to be watching from home, unless you're on a relay. So it's tough. It's tough. And there's so much depth in the U.S. Like there's not a lot of countries do it the way we do it. So a lot of times, if you're in a different country, you can qualify for the Olympics during the year. Like if you just run the time that's the Olympic standard, you're in the Olympics, because they don't. A lot of countries don't have enough athletes to field a whole big team like we do. So yeah, that's kind of how that works. That's the process of it.
So let's get to the day that you qualified for the Olympic team. Like, talk about that, man. Because that right there is, it's historical. People make a mistake and they're like, no, once you're Olympian, you're Olympian, no matter what. So please talk to the people and let them know that day when you qualified that you knew you was going to the Olympics. Talk about that, and how did it feel at the end that you knew that you was going?
Yeah, I've talked about this. I've done so many interviews about this. The Olympic trials are stressful, very stressful, especially when you're going in and you're one of the top people. I'd never made an Olympic trials final before, so man, the amount of nerves and like just the amount of pressure that was on me in that moment was ridiculous. Like it was unmatched, and because you just never know who's gonna like run fast. You just don't know what's gonna happen. It's just a crazy meet. It's very unpredictable. So like I think that when I finally crossed the line and realized I was going to the Olympics, it was more of a relief than anything. Like it was more just like I could finally breathe, because like again, there's so much pressure to make that team and to be on that team, especially when you haven't made one yet and you know that you're capable of doing it and everyone's expecting you to do it. And so it's like when I crossed the line, I was just like, oh, thank God, it's over. I'm going. It wasn't. I wasn't like super excited about it. I was just so relieved, because there's so much pressure behind that. And the amount of like I've talked to a lot of athletes who are like, yeah, like I went to the Olympic trials. Like I'm recuperating. Like I got a couple of days off because I'm mentally trying to emotionally. It's more emotionally taxing than anything. Emotionally, it's more taxing than anything. And like if you've ever been like emotionally taxed, like tired, it's a different kind of tired. It's not like a physical thing. It just feels different. That's how it was.
So, okay, you make the Olympics. Talk about the Olympic experience. You know what I'm saying? Basically, it was supposed to be last year. Mr. Kobe said, no, it's not. So, you know what? Let's do this. So, basically, we know it's got moved. So, how did you feel like it got changed and it went this year? Like, as far as the COVID, How was you affected by that whole COVID thing, like meets and different things like that, and knowing that okay, the Olympics is supposed to be 2020, but this COVID, like, how'd you deal with that whole COVID era? I mean, I ain't gonna do this. COVID, and it's real.
Yeah,
People think it ain't.
yeah, it's real. Um, no, yeah, 2020 was a different kind of year. I don't think it was super bad or stressful. I mean, COVID was terrible, but I can't say that for me. I had a bad year. I think that the only bad thing about it was that there was no competitions. There was no money to be made for competing, so I didn't make a lot of money that year.
Yeah, we all want to make money.
Right.
So yeah. When half your income is gone because you can't compete, it's like it's not fun. So yeah, I mean, other than that, I was just training in different places. I didn't have a place to train for a while. I was training in a park, like literally on grass, like a grass field. It was kind of uneven. There's like ant hills everywhere, and people's dogs like taking crabs. People like picking it up. Like that's what I was having to deal with. And like for real, like I'm sitting there dodging, like I'm looking down while I'm running. So that was that. Yeah, that was COVID. That was a year. It wasn't bad. We got a couple meets in. Nike kind of forced us to run. Like they were like, hey, you got to run these meets, or we're gonna deduct y'all.
Oh,
So they was wilding, man. They basically was like, hey, there's no meets, but we're gonna make some meets so y'all can run.
Right.
It was like I'm just here so I don't get fined. Like,
right. Big time.
I'm here so I don't get fined. But yeah, we did that, and I mean that was just how I coped with it. I wasn't tripping that the Olympics got postponed. I was just hoping that it would happen. I think I was ready in 2020. I think I was even more ready this year, just because of just the ability to train longer. And I got to take a little break in 2020, so it wasn't bad. I just had to change up where I was training and stuff for the time being.
So we now we heard it's 2021. So we headed to the Olympics. We ready to rock and roll, man. Tell about the Olympic experience, man. Because like I said, not everybody's about to, you don't get to talk to an Olympian all day, you know what I'm saying, anytime.
Right.
So please tell us about your experience in the Olympics, man.
And the Olympics were fun. There was a good experience. I have been doing a lot of reflection about it because I got to the Olympics and I obviously expected to win. I don't think that if you go into any situation like that, you go into the Super Bowl or the NBA Finals and you're not expecting to win, then you got an issue. Like you're already lost.
Right.
So the mindset was to win. The mindset was already to win. So when I got there, I was feeling good, just warming up, doing all the things that I was doing while I was in Japan, trying to, handle the jet lag and treatment and everything. So I was ready. And, ran that first round really easy, 10:03, pretty comfortable. Second round, I came back and ran 9:83, which was my personal best. Had to run a little bit because they only take the top two into the final. They take the top two and the next two fastest times from all three heats. So you're racing to be in the top two. If you're not in the top two, you're not guaranteed.
Right.
So the guy that went out, the Chinese guy, he was flying, and so everybody had to run. Everybody had to run fast in that prelim, and you want to try to conserve energy.
Right.
Last it on the prelim or the semifinal, and so I had to run my personal best to make the final.
Wow.
And then getting to the final, man, I got fifth place, and I was a little bit disappointed by it because I think my expectations were so high, and I honestly felt like in my eyes, I had run against those guys a million times, and I had beaten them all like handily. Wow. And so in my head, I was going in with so much confidence that like I've already won this. Like God's already done it. Like I'm a winner. And so that was huge for me going into it. What were you going to say something, Will?
Yeah, Ron. Yeah, let me ask you this real quick. What was your time in that final?
I ran 9:95. So not a bad time at all. But the times that obviously were run were just super fast this year. So, yeah, like ran 9:95, got fifth. was a little bit upset and disappointed at myself because, again, I knew what I was capable. I knew what I could run. I knew I could beat those guys. So for me, I was like just trying to figure out what happened, what did I do wrong, what could I fix? Because I'm going into like, okay, what can we do better like next year? Because I've been in the sport for 5 years and I've been winning races, but not sometimes winning when it counts, like when it really counts. And so I want to win when it really counts because if Michael Jordan was the greatest, if he just scored a bunch of points and he never won a championship, nobody would talk about him.
Right.
What you said? What you said?
Right.
So I was like, hey, I want to be able to put my stamp on this, and I know that's going to be solidified with getting a medal, winning something at some point. So that was just a big point for me, and I've gone through a lot of just reflection because as an athlete, when you're that competitive, you want to have that discipline, you want to be able to win, and you want to be competitive. And so for me, it was hard to take because I just felt so strongly that I could do better.
But
So I think it's not that I lost. It's not that I'm mad that I'm lost. I'm mad because I know, again, I talked about that earlier. I know my potential, and I feel like I didn't live up to my potential. I'm not sour because I lost.
Hey,
Sour
Ronnie.
because I performed.
Ronnie,
Yeah.
two things I want to say. First of all, when you was talking about a few minutes ago about that losing, man, that passion, that like that reflection, like we can see it on your face, man.
Yep.
That you like, oh no. You know what I'm saying? And I love it. I know
Yes.
that right there, like show the competitiveness that you are. Like you like, dude, that's not what I'm made of, dude. That's not. I'm still feel that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not happy with that. Number two, I want to ask you, like, football players, track players, different. We look at videos and stuff. So, like, when you go back, do you like look at videos like what was going on with your starts and different? Like, do you do that?
Yeah, we take some analysis for sure. We're looking at form, position, all that stuff. Yeah, so it's just like game film.
Okay.
It's just shorter and a lot easier to look at. You ain't got to look at a whole game. It's 9 seconds.
So, do you have a? Yeah, for some people it's 11 seconds. But do you? Let me ask you this very quick, bro.
Them male bulldogs,
Look, you like the third or fourth ballot brewing. We got y'all on the show, man. I mean, come on. I ain't gonna throw that salt that way, man. Come on, Ronnie. Let me ask you this though, right? You ain't right, man. For real, man. You ain't right. Let me ask you this though. So, like, do you like as a professional athlete? And I'm pretty sure you do. You have a trainer. You have like like who's the trainer, man? Who you work with?
Yeah, I work with this guy named Stevie Reyna. He's a strength and conditioning coach at TCU. Man, he just got hired full time. Congratulations to that guy. He's a really cool guy. But he's just helping me, lift, get stronger. And then I just train with my college coach, who I've been training with for 9 years. So those are really in tandem, the two people I work with. And then I've got massage therapists and stuff that take care of my body with, and just see them once a week. So those are just the people I work with, kind of the small team. And then got my agent who's putting me in the track meets, and just a team of people. So. But yeah, my trainer is really, really, really important.
Heck yeah, and that's great stuff. But you know what, man? Since you was on some old bull with them dogs, we got something special for you. We gonna switch this up real quick because you're a basketball player at heart, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so we got a little something we're gonna do right now and take you off that podium. And all that.
Hey, take me off of it.
Take off the podium, man, because you've been on one. But that's okay. We love it though, and I love the enthusiasm and love that you on here. But let's go on and get something else, man. Let's do this real quick, man. All right, let's have fun, man. You're a basketball player, franchise player, all-star player, stat player. We rank them. Franchise 1s, all-star 2, stat 3. Shooters. You basketball. Miller, Curry, Allen. Rank them.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Players sometimes it's like a trick question because I know what I should say. Man, okay. I for real though, I'm saying Miller franchise, Stat, Allen, All Star, Curry. That's my rank.
Hey, I like that. You can't go wrong with none of them though, for real. That's
No.
No,
you
you can't.
can't
You
go wrong
can't.
with that, but we're not done with you yet. Baller de
Ooh,
bar,
ooh.
45-40. In-game dunking. Because you've been around all that, you know what I'm saying? So let's go on and get Dominique Wilkins, Vince Carter, Jordan, rank them 50, 45, 40. In-game.
In game. Uh, is this like their dunk scores? Is that what we're talking about?
No, I'm talking about like when you watch the game in the game, not no. The score is basically is the way we ranking them, first, second, and third.
Okay,
But who
okay.
you think was the best in-game dunker?
Dunker. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we got to think of that track stuff, brother. Don't think you gonna come on here talking that slick stuff about them dogs. Come on, brother.
Man, I haven't watched enough. I haven't watched enough Dominic Wilkins to know. Like
That's okay.
I haven't really dived into that. I'd be interested to hear y'all, but I would put because I've seen Jordan and I've seen Carter, but in my eyes, Jordan's at the top.
So
And,
50, Jordan 50.
um, I guess I'd put Vince at 45 and Dominic at 40.
You
That
got
would be my.
you got to do me this favor. I know you have a professional track meet tomorrow. You leaving in be 2 weeks because I'm definitely gonna reach back out to have you back on the show. You when you come back on this show, I'm gonna need you to say, Will, I'll look at Dominiqu's highlights. That's all you need to do. That's all.
All right.
Yeah. But we're not done with you. We're not done with you. Bang! Franchise players, all-star player, stat player. Booker, Mitchell, Murray, rank them.
Shoot, Donovan Mitchell is already. I love Donovan. His game. I mean, I'd have to go Donovan. I go Donovan franchise. I'd go.
Don't do like
I feel like Booker's a stat, and then Murray's an all-star player.
woo. And you know what? Yesterday was the anniversary. Like
Yeah.
when they was balling.
Yeah.
That's a hey. I got you, Ronnie. You a hooper for real. I got you. I got you.
No, Donovan Mitchell's cold, bro.
Oh yeah. He's a different level. But
You can build a team around him.
let's get you on this one. Franchise player, all-star player, stat player. Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, Ja Morant. What you got?
Ooh. You know what? I'm gonna do. Okay, my franchise player is gonna be Ja, and the reason is because I think out of those three, he's the most exciting, potentially electric of the three. And if
Okay.
even I think when you're picking a franchise player, it's not just about stats. It's not just about.
Right.
It's about who the audience they capture, the following they bring.
Right.
That dude, I've seen him just do some crazy stuff. So I'd say franchise player for him. Young is going to be the all-star player. He's an all-star, and then LaMelo's going to be stats. That's what I would do.
Got you. I love that though. You know what I'm saying? You hit home on that. And so look, this is one thing that we do, Ronnie, man. Before we close out, we like to give all our guests an opportunity to thank the people who's been in their lives, who's been important in their lives, from sports, family, whatever. So basically, we give you an opportunity to let everybody know who you thankful for and different things like that, Ronnie. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. My mom for sure. Michelle's just done so much for me. Me and my two younger siblings. And I know that I wouldn't be here without the prayers that she's praying for me like crazy and all the sacrifices she made for me to just have a decent normal life. So yeah, my mom's just awesome. I can't it's funny because he's like, okay, how do you even thank someone that's done so much for you, right? I feel like you can't even explain that in words, and actions are louder than words anyway. So you might as well just go do something. And I feel like the way that I've presented myself and how I've competed is definitely giving back to her, and she's just everything to me. So my mom, my father, who's having a better relationship with now, but he's taught me a lot. So my dad, Ronald, and then some coaches, man, really influential. Even Coach Renner, even though he's my basketball coach, he had a really big impact on me. And then Coach Goodwin, man, track and field coach at Ballard, just believing in me, challenging me, just telling me I could do more, be better. I think that was huge, just helping me realize my potential. And then my track coach at TCU, and just everything she's done for me. I mean, he's been my track coach for like 9 years, and just molded me into the guy that I am, especially the competitor that I am. And he knows exactly my body. He knows what to do. He knows when to hold back, what to say. And so, I mean, I could go on for a long time. I think those are the top people in my mind right now that have been influential for me. And there's a lot of people, a lot of supporters out there, lots of friends and family that have been and had my back. But those people have really poured themselves into me a lot to allow me to be where I'm at.
Well, Ronnie, first of all, I want to go ahead and the Mark and Will show. I want to go ahead and give you this because I'm gonna tell you what, man. As much as you try to dig in my Bulldogs, I'm so happy for you as a Ballard Bruin, but also as a 502. Man, we appreciate you joining us.
Absolutely.
And actually, like, one of the reasons why we did this show so we can go ahead and give back to the community. Not everybody understands the top. The athletes are here. 502 in the state of Kentucky, we have a lot of athletes, and I mean, for Mark to introduce me to you was a blessing. To go ahead, like I told you the story, of me going through the neighborhood and seeing your name out there. You know what I'm saying? And never thought that 3-4 weeks later I actually be talking to you on our show. And I'm gonna tell you what, man, that the advice, your journey, everything you have given today, man, is a blessing that for the youth that can learn from you. So we definitely appreciate you being on our show, man, and we wish nothing but success for you. And we know that you're still young enough. You're still a baller. You're gonna go bring that gold. You're gonna bring that gold, man. You're gonna bring it gold to 5.
We'll be at 2024. We'll be there.
Hey, and just thank you, man. Really, from the bottom of my heart, because you and I talked, and we kind of like put this together at the end of the fast motion type thing, because knew you was gonna go out. But man, hey, right here, man, was a pleasure talking to you and hearing your story, man. And we wish you nothing but the best. Go ahead and win the events. Gonna make that Nike money and everything else.
Right.
Hey, man, God bless you, man.
Be safe.
Be safe.
Travel safe.
I will.
Thank everybody for watching this, man.
Right.
And hey, a legend right here.
In the makings. Yes, sir.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it.
Peace out.
Appreciate it. Peace.
Mark and Will. Yeah. What you know about them Bulldogs? Mark and Will. Yeah. What you know about them Bulldogs and them Panthers? Legacy. That's right. Legacy. That's right. Legacy. That's right. Legacy. Let's go. What you know about this legacy? Wednesday night tuned in to this legacy. Mark and Will locked in on this legacy. Mel and PIP's in on this legacy. Let's go. What you know about this legacy? Wednesday night tuned in to this legacy. Mark and Will locked in on this legacy. Get your popcorn, I know you need this medicine. Let's go.